P7. As you can see, today's activity, today's task, we're calculating percentage increases and decreases. I'll be honest, this is quite challenging, it's quite tricky, it's one of the harder P7 objectives. So we're going to look really carefully. I've got an example page here. If you look, this is the hexagons and pentagons work. This is not the exact work you're doing, but these problems, A, B, C, and D, are extremely similar to the problems that you're going to be given. There's also a word problem here, which is extremely similar to some of the word problems you're going to be given. I'm going to go step by step explaining how to solve these, and then you can use the same strategy, the same methodology on the ones on your sheet. Okay, so I'll do the same. I'll do that for squares and triangles, for hexagons, pentagons, sorry. Then I'll do the exact same thing here for squares and triangles. Okay, you will need to use a calculator for this task. It's not cheating. You will need to use a calculator. Some of this stuff you can do in your head, I'm sure. We're going to use a calculator. Okay, so we're trying to find out percentage increases and decreases. So sometimes the price of stuff goes up. Sometimes the amount of things increase. Sometimes the price or the amount of things goes down or decreases. So for example, you'll be in the shop 25% off. That means 25% of the price has gone down. The item has been decreased by a quarter or by 25%. Okay. When you're trying to find a percentage of a number, there's lots of different ways and different strategies. But I'm going to be extremely clear with just one simple strategy. So before you do anything else, before you find 15% or 9% or 90% or 1%, sorry, or 7%, always try and find 1% first. So the first thing to remember, find 1% first. So that's your first step today, some of these problems. If you can find 1% of a number or an amount, you can then work your way up to find the given percent that the problem is asking for. So to find 1% of anything, it's quite simple. It's by dividing by 100. Okay, so before you can find the given percentage, always start by finding 1% first. So I'm just going to highlight that in yellow. That's our first step. So for example, this first problem here, it says increase 750 kilograms by 15%. So I need to find 15% of 750 and then increase 750 by that amount. But I don't know what 15% of 750 is. But like I said, my first step, I have to find 1% first. And I find 1% by dividing the amount by 100. So the first thing I'm going to do for this problem here is go 750 divided by 100. Okay, now as you know, the place value of the number will move twice. So I'm fairly confident the number we're going to get is 7.5. Let's just check on my calculator. So I go 750 divided by 100 equals 7.5. That's my first step. Okay. Now guys, always be careful when using a calculator. These digital calculators on a laptop or a iPad or whatever is probably quite handy, but on a physical calculator, on an actual object, sometimes you don't press the buttons and the numbers don't go in. So I often would do the sum twice divided by 100 just to make sure it's come out right. 7.5. Okay, so that's just good practice. So carry out each calculation twice to be sure. So now I've got 7.5, but that's only 1% of 750. I need to find what 15% is. So it's quite straightforward. My next step, I'm going to go 7.5 multiplied by 15, because the 1%, which we know is 7.5, I need to find out what 15% of 750 is. So I've got 7.5 in my calculator already. I multiply that by 15. Now I've got 112.5. 112.5 or a half. So I now know that 15% of 750 is 112.5. But that's not my problem. The problem doesn't say find 15% of 750. It says increase 750 by 15%. So now very simply I have to add that 1125 to the original amount, 750. So I've got 112.5 add 750. So my answer for this problem, increase 750 kilograms by 15%, is, I'll just write out one more time, 112.5 add 750. So my final answer is 862.5.
I know there's a lot of steps there, guys. It's not straightforward. So I'll explain that one more time. I had to increase 750 by 15%. To even begin to solve this problem, the first thing I need to do was find 1% first. So I divided 750 by 100, and that gave me 7.5. Okay, and then your second step, I'm going to multiply your answer. Multiply your answer by the percent you need. Okay, so for example, I need 15%. So that was this stage when I multiplied 7.5 by 15. So that's going to be your second step. And then your last thing you need to do, depending on whether it's an increase or a decrease, you're adding or subtracting that amount. Okay, so for the example here where it said increase 750 by 15%, I had to add the 15%, the 112.5, to my original amount because I was increasing. If the problem said decrease, I'll be doing the exact same thing, but the exact opposite thing, sorry. I'll be taking away 112.5, okay? So guys, like I said, I know that's a bit confusing. Let's just highlight that. So we'll go through those steps again for the next problem. So I'll just delete this just to keep it clear. Obviously, you can always rewind and look again. This next problem says increase 36 minutes by 25%. I know lots of you are thinking already, right, 25%, that's a quarter. I know what a quarter of 36 is. I can do that quite quickly. But let's just go for our methodology just to be sure. So if I want to find what 25% of 36 is, I first need to find what 1% is. So 36 divided by 100. Now, as you know, your place value will move twice, 1, 2. I'm fairly confident my answer is 0.36, but let's check on our calculator. I'm going to clear my calculator. 36 divided by 100 equals 0.36. Okay, so my number that I'm working with now is 0.36. But I don't want to know what 1% of 36 is. I need to know what 25% is. So I'm going to multiply that by 25. So 0.36 multiplied by 25, because that's the amount, that's the percentage I need. And then get 9. 0.36 times by 25 equals 9. My last step, add or subtract that amount to my original amount. So because it says increase, I'm doing 36, which is the original amount, plus 9, which is the percentage increase. I don't need to use the calculator for that. That is, of course, 45. Obviously, if it said decrease, I would have done 36, take away 9. Okay, so you're working through those steps. Okay, you can delete those again. Let's look at the next question. It says decrease 54 by 9%. So you start exactly the same way. I need to find 1% of 54. So I go 54 divided by 100. So 54 divided by 100. Just clear my calculator first. 54 divided by 100. Again, knowing your place value, you should be fairly confident. You should be able to do that in your head. Equals, equals 0.54. But that's only 1%. I need to find 9%. So I'm doing 0.54 times by 9. Sorry, 9, not 6, times by 9. 4.86. 4.86. And then it says add or subtract that amount. Now notice this time I'm asking you to decrease. So we're going to subtract this time. So instead of adding 4.86 to 54, we're going to subtract 4.86 from 54. So 54, take away 4.86. You may use your calculator for that. 54, take away 4.86 equals 49.14. So my answer there would be 49.14. You don't have that exact problem. Yours will be extremely similar. Okay, but you're going to use those steps. Find 1% first, divide by 100. Multiply your answer by the percent you need, and then choose are you adding or subtracting, depending if the problem asks you to increase or decrease. The last one again. It says increase 200 centimeters by 90%. First of all, we need to find 1% of 200. So 200
divided by 100. And if you're very confident you place value, you know your answer is surely going to be 2, I hope. There we go, 2. And then now I know that 1% of 200 is 2. I need to find what 90% is. 2 multiplied by 90. Again, you should be able to do that in your head. 180. And now my last step, add or subtract that amount. Because we say increase, we're adding. So it's 200, add 180. Which again, you can do in your head. 380. So those are your 3 steps. First, you find 1% by dividing by 100. And as I said, there are other methods, but this is the method I'm asking you to try if you don't know any other ways. You multiply your answer by the percent you need. So once you found 1%, you have to work to find the 90 or the 15 or the 7 or whatever the problem asks for. And the last step, are you subtracting or adding, depending whether you see the word increase or decrease. Okay, so they're your steps to solve the problem. Right, this is an example of a word problem, guys, that you might get. It's basically being able to apply what you've just learned in the context of a real life problem. A packet of crisps contains 60 grams, right? So there's 60 grams of crisps in the packet. But a new size is coming out. If a new size packet contains 15% more, how many grams of crisps are in the new size? Because you see the word more, straight away you should be thinking increase. So basically what they're asking you to do is to find a 15% increase of 60 grams. Okay, a 15% increase of 60 grams. If we follow our steps at the top here, we should be able to solve that without too many problems. So 1%. Before we can find 15% of 60, we need to find 1%. So it's 60 grams divided by 100. Again, your place value should help you with that. You should know that's 0.6. So 60 divided by 100 equals 0.6. But that unfortunately is just 1%. We need to find 15%. So the next thing we'll be able to do is 0.6 times by 15, because our second step says multiply your answer by the percent you need. So 0.6 times 15. Again, you should know, possibly in your head, that should give you the answer of 9. And then it says add or subtract that amount. Now because the crisps are getting bigger, because it contains 50% more, you're adding that 9 grams to the original 60 grams. So 60 plus 9 equals, of course, 69 grams. Okay, so your answer here would be 69 grams. I don't mind if you do your working out like this, or if you work out on a piece of paper and just writing the answer. It's really the answer we're looking for. Now the reason we added the 60 to the 9 here, of course, is because it says 15% more. Our answer actually would have been 51 if it said 15% less. Okay. So these are the steps you need to work through, okay, if you're doing the hexagons and pentagons work. P7, I appreciate it's not super easy, and it's very difficult for us to explain via these videos, but hopefully that will help a little bit. Let's have a look then instead at what I've asked the squares and triangles to do. Yours is extremely similar. Were you thinking of the context of shops and sales and extra things for free? Okay, so the first column here, and your sheet looks exactly like this. It says 50% off. And it says to find a 50% decrease, you divide the amount by 2. Okay, because 50% is the same as a half. So 50% off £20. Okay, so to find out what 50% off £20 is, you simply divide 20 by 2. You may use a calculator, but you should know, really would hope you know, the half of 20 is 10. So your answer there would be £10. Okay, and on your sheet, you have a very similar problem to that, but not the same. This is a bit harder. 50% off, £45. So instead of taking half or 50% off of 20, now it's 45. So again, it says to find a 50% decrease, you divide the amount by 2. So then, clear on your calculator, 45 divided by 2. Again, you should be able to do that in your head. It's coming up on the calculator as 22.5, but you know that's £22.50 because you're working with money. Next one, it says, again, a little bit harder, 50% off, £47.40. Because it says 50%, you know, and because it says 50% off, you know you're dividing by 2. So let's go £47.40 divided by 2, 23.7, or because you know you're working with money, that's £23.70. 70. Squares, triangles, you don't have those problems. You have very, very similar problems. You can use the instructions at the top here that says to find a 50% decrease, you divide an amount by 2. Now, this bit is a bit more challenging. This is the calculating an increase, because somebody's given you 25% extra free of these items. So you're going to divide by 4, because that will give you 1/4, and you're going to add your answer to the original amount. Okay? Add it to the original amount. So 100 grams of sugar, 25% extra free. So if you've got 100 grams of sugar, first step, because these are 2 steps now, divide by 4 equals 25. So your first step, 100 divided by 4 equals 25. 1/4 of 100 is 25. And then second step says add it to the original amount. My original amount was 100 grams. So it's 100 grams plus 25 grams. So very straightforward. You end up with 125 grams because you're getting 25% extra free. Again, 25% extra free. It says here a 25% increase. These are slightly different. It says all car prices up 25%. Okay, so Ford Focus used to be 4,400. What's the new price? So it says here to calculate a 25% increase, you divide the amount by 4. So you're going to do 4400 divided by 4. So 1/4, 4,400 divided by 4. 1/4 of that is 1,100. And then you add that to the original amount. So 4,400 plus 1,100. So 4400 plus 1100, of course, is 5,500. 5,500. Okay. Last example here, guys, and we'll be able to move on. Xbox games, they're all increased by £25. The old price was £45. What's the new price? So it says here to calculate a 20% an increase, you divide the amount by 4. So the amount is 45. So in your calculator, because you can use calculators today, 45 divided by 4 equals £11.25. So 45 divided by 4 equals £11.25. Then it says here you add it to the original amount, which was 45. So £45 add 11.25 equals, so we go here again, we can clear our calculator, 45 add £11.25 equals £56.25. So the new price for that is £56.25. P7, like I said, I appreciate this is a bit tricky. I've tried my best to explain it clearly. These examples on these 2 sheets are very, very similar to the examples on your activities. There's also a circles activity, which will be more of a revision task that if you still can't do either of these, you can try that, but don't panic. Watch the videos, rewind, go backwards, go forwards, and if you still can't get it, don't worry. When we're back in school, Mrs. McCabe and myself will be going over it in lots and lots of detail. Okay, thank you.